Welcome to Empowering the Next Generation podcast. I am Helen Veru. This podcast is dedicated to help anyone connected to preteens and teens to give them tools, empower and inspire teachers, high school senior leaders, and parents to build the future leaders of tomorrow. We discuss about controversial and relevant topics related to the world of education, the main problems you are facing, and solutions to help you navigate your journey. We want to make a positive change in education by bringing on experts that will give you a different perspective on how you can solve the hardship you are facing today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empowering the Next Generation podcast with Coach Helen. I'm so glad today because we have someone amazing. His name is Dean Gordon, and he's an accomplished educator who has made significant contributions to the field of education. In 2015, he assumed the position of a head of school at the Greenland Gibbons Primary School. Dean's vision played a pivotal role in the 2021 relaunch of the Greenland Gibson and Lucasville Primary School when they merged under the name of the Phoenix Federation. He was later appointed at the Federation Headteacher in 2022, and since then, Dean strongly advocates for racial equality. His efforts have been Greenlee Gibbons awarded the Gold Race and Conscious Equality Charter Mark, and for Lucasville Primary School, a Silver Award. You know that we are here in the podcast to really inspire parents of preteens and teens, senior leaders, teachers who wants to really ignite high school communities and develop meaningful connections. So we know here as well that we are giving you real problems, real solutions, and real impact. So welcome, Dean, to the podcast.
Hi, thank you, Ellen.
Thank you so much for actually coming over. I know that you have so much to do. You're a busy head teacher. And I actually met you through LinkedIn. And it was amazing because I've seen what you have done so far, and it is very commendable. So just share with the audience, Jean, how did it all start?
How did it all start? It all started me having a passion for teaching because of my uncle, who was a teacher, who went on to be a head teacher, and he inspired me because I wanted to be like him. So I would do all that he did. It started in Jamaica, where I was born, grew up, and I was in teaching. I taught there for 6 years. Then I migrated to the UK in 2001. And since that, the day I've arrived, I've been working as a teacher in education until today. So that's how it began.
Wow. That's amazing how you actually kept the journey. You've evolved. You started as a teacher. After you start as a head of a department, then you went into leadership. And really, what are the challenges that you've seen as a leader? Because how long have you been actually a leader, a school leader?
So 2015 until now, I've been in school leadership, from head of school to head teacher of one school, and now Federation head teacher for 2 schools.
Wow.
And in September, it should be 3 schools because we've now taken over an alternative provision, which was
Yes.
putting children who are at risk of exclusion. It's a smaller setting, but these children need that additional support because they are at risk of being excluded from their schools. So that's something else I'm taking on in September, with the help of my team that are just amazing people to work with. So yeah.
Definitely.
In terms of leadership and the challenges, there has been a lot. When I moved to the UK, I was just a class teacher. I was teaching in a primary school, and it was a year 5 and 6 mix. 30 children who were lovely. But when I joined the class, I found that they had 13 teachers between September and December. I joined in January. The
Wow.
class was, that class was really hardcore. The children were very difficult. So someone came in and would have left before lunchtime because they could not cope with it. And I recall my second week in the class, the children, one boy came to me, Mr. Gordon, why are you still here? I said, what do you mean, why are you still here? I said, I'm here because this is my job. I said, I've left Jamaica to come here and I'm not going back anytime soon. It's expensive. It's a long flight to get there. So guess what? I will be here with you. And they kept coming back each morning before school started, and through the window, they would do this. They would look through the window to check and see if I'm there. And I said, guys, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay. And that was what I did to win them over, because they wanted someone who believed in them. So they were testing to see who would stick it out with them. And that was me. And what happened was that class was so difficult, had people leaving. I stayed with them and they became one of the best classes in the school. However, they were brilliant in the classroom, but when they went out into the playground, they were little terrors. But you know what? I love them because they were doing the right things for me, because it wasn't my job at that point to think about big picture. It was more about thinking about my classroom and making it right for them in the classroom. But over time, I worked with them, get them to start to behave differently and change their approach towards school. But I think there were issues with them at the time. They thought they weren't being treated fairly by other staff, and so they lashed out and behaved the way they did. They responded well to me because I listened, I cared, and I was there for them. So that was the starting point in terms of challenges. But over the years, having been here for longer, having gained experience and decided to start climbing the ladder into leadership, I found that there's a lot that happened. And I can bring it down to one thing, and that was, I'm a Black man, I'm Jamaican, and those things were used against me in many, many ways. Examples like, I remember we had a governor's meeting, which I was the staff governor. So I spoke for the governors in terms of, for the staff, I spoke for the staff on their behalf. We had quite a few staff members who came from the Caribbean, and they were discussing bereavement policy. And what happens if someone in your family passes away? What does the school policy say about that? And it was 3 days with pay. Anything else is without pay. So my staff was like, this is not fair, because most of us are from the Caribbean and the journey there from here is quite long, it's expensive. So for 3 days, it doesn't really work. Could we have that change? So I challenged that in the governor's meeting. And one of the governors said to me, in full view of everyone else, no one told you to work here. Basically,
Wow.
why did you stay in Jamaica or in the Caribbean? Because if that's the case, you could have been close to your family or whoever it is. And I thought that was the first thing that happened to me. I thought like, wow, these people are different. Another example was, I remember going to a course with the deputy who was my year group partner. She's white, she was from South Africa. And we went to the course, it was a maths course, because I was new to the country. And I just like to get my head around the curriculum and what they do and how they do it. And I walked into the school where the session was being held. And the person at the front desk said to her, this person is white, deputy is white. You did not need to bring your cab driver into the meeting. So that was,
wow.
yeah. So yeah, basically, I can go through a lot more other things that happened to me.
Obviously, you already faced some challenges in terms of your skin color. Mm-hmm.
That was an early stage. Then I remember getting into how I got into leadership at the higher level. The school I was at, it was very difficult and I could not cope. So I decided to leave at the end of the autumn term. I remember when I put the resignation into the head teacher, she was like, Dean, this is a surprise. I didn't see that coming. But I was struggling because I just thought I kept on being overlooked, not seen, not heard. And I thought, I can't progress in this school because I'm not white. And that was the fact. If I was white, maybe I had a chance, because in this school, I can't. So when I said to the person that, actually, I can't do this anymore, I need to leave, she begged me. I said, like, no, I need to move on for my benefit, my well-being, my mental health. I need to go because this is not working. And I literally took a pay cut because I went to another school to do a lesser job, getting less paid, but I was happier. In that school, the head teacher there was Black, and I was working with groups of children in year 6, supporting them to get them through their SATs. And within a term of being in the school, an advert was put out for an assistant head teacher to lead on inclusion. So I applied for the job, and guess what? I got it. So within a matter of a term of leaving that school, I was now promoted to a assistant head teacher. From a class teacher to assistant head teacher, and I thought like, yeah, this is the way to go. Now, the school was failing at the time, so the head teacher who appointed me, she left and had a new leadership structure. Someone came on board to support the school. Persons were successful. She was leading 2 other schools, and she came to support that school through the journey of transition. I worked with her for a year as assistant head teacher. At the end of that year, she said to me, Dean, are you able to step up from this role and do something like act as a head of school, because there's a vacancy in one of my schools? And I said, wow, I didn't expect that. And she said,
Wow.
over the year, I've seen you, the way you carry yourself, the things you do, the way you interact with staff, with children, with parents. And I think that you would fit perfectly in my team and part of my vision. Have a think about it. And I said, you know what? Nothing to think about. I've always wanted to be a leader, so I'll go for it.
I
Even
like
though I
that.
had no clue what I was getting myself into, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to give it my best, because you know what? If you've seen that in me, I know I can do it. And with your guidance and support, I can do that. So 2015, I took that role on as an acting head of school. And it's in the school that I have been for the past, 9 years, William Gibbons Primary School. That's where it's at.
Wow.
While there as acting, the governors agreed to make the job substantive. So they put an advert out. I had to apply for it and go through the process. And I was successful. That was after a year of doing the job. And yes, that is when the real challenge started.
So
I
you
thought,
had a crescendo of challenges over the years.
so I thought that, you know what, having been now in a position where I'm leader, I'm leading a team of people, I'm leading staff, discussing parents and meetings with governors, I thought it would be easy. Oh no, it got really, really tricky at that point. Because what happened was that the person who encouraged me to join this school, she was about to retire. So she retired a year on after my starting date. And when she left, the local authority was finding it difficult to find someone to replace her. So people came in on interim positions to take her role. And she was the executive head teacher. So someone came in, and that was the person who was above me, who I directly was my direct line manager. And to this day, I've had 5 such people work with me in the Federation, right?
Wow.
5. First one who left was the first one. A Black lady who was very passionate about her schools, the job she does, and about race equality, and empowering Black people to be the best version of themselves. She left, and everyone who came in after her was white. And I thought to myself, like, yeah, what is it that is that there's no Black people around who can be in that position, because that's what it looked like. And believe you me, all these white executive teachers who came in, apart from 2 of them, they did not regard me at all as being relevant or important. So I was battling with the person who is directly above me, who should be my mentor. 2 of them came on. One of them spent a very short time, because COVID came when just before she started, and she had some illnesses, so she had to leave quite early because of risk for her health. So she left. Then someone came to replace her directly, and that person had no experience of doing this job before, but just did not see me for who I was. And it was battle after battle after battle. I'm thinking like, we're on the same team. We should be trying to work together for the community, but you're trying to like beat me down every chance you get. I remember one of them saying to me once, Dean, you're too Jamaican. And I was like,
What does it mean?
what do you mean? I said, you know what, actually, I wish I could be more Jamaican. So it was, I thought, if that's how you feel, I'm going to show you what Jamaica is like. And I start doing Jamaican things as often as I could, just to make sure that, you know what, I'm not afraid of who I am. This is who I am, and I'm going to be proud about it. And I encourage my staff, my children, the families, to be your authentic self.
That's it.
So that was a part of the struggles. And I think the biggest struggle I faced was when all these people came on board and decided to like not stick it out, and they left for different reasons, I think it was after the fourth person who had taken that job on had left, the governors thought, you know what, actually, we need to find someone who is going to be a substantive executive teacher who will be coming in and committing to work with the Federation for a longer period. So they put an advert out. And I thought, because we've had 3 people in a short period of time who've come on and left without making a great impact on the school, you know what, I'm here, I'm committed. I know that the families in the school value me, respect me, and I've had a few of them say, like, you know what, Mr. Gordon, you should be the person who's in charge of these schools. So I thought, you know what, apply for the job. So I applied for it. And I thought, I've worked here for the past 6 years. I thought that, you know what, actually, they would actually see me as someone who will add value, because governors know me. I'm in meetings every term, twice a term, doing meetings, discussions, you know exactly what I bring to the table. And guess what? I wasn't even shortlisted. And I
Wow.
thought, wow, that hurts. But I thought, you know what? In the past, I've had things said to me like, your face doesn't fit, you're too Jamaican. No one told you to come here. I've had all those things coming from within the walls of schools, with school. So I thought, you know what? I've had enough. I'm not taking this anymore. I'm going to call you out. So I went and did a bit of research. I found out we had, I think, probably 27 applicants for the job because it was very popular. And majority of applicants were Black or brown. Not one of the Black or brown candidates were shortlisted. So I said, this is actually not okay. This is racist. I'm going to call. So I called out relevant people within the organization. I said that this is not on. And I was asked, why is it that, why would you not shortlist me? And the person who was the chair of governors at that time said, basically, over my dead body, Dean, you cannot be a head teacher. And I thought to myself, no, actually, I don't want to go to prison. That. And I thought, you know what, for me, there's a saying that we have, what is for you will be for you. If it's meant,
Definitely.
will happen. And you know what, fine, I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to just leave it be and see what happens, because things will work out for us. And basically, I said, like, what other reason apart from your bias about me why I want a job? I've got an experience. I said, how do I get experience if I've got people like you who are telling me that I can't get a job? How do I get it? And that was the dilemma. So I said, you know what, actually, I came here prepared today because I've seen an advert about courses that support Black or brown people to get into leadership. And the course costs this amount of money. Because of what you've just said to me or done for the whole process, I'm going to tell you that I need to be put on that course, and the school will pay for it. Because that will give me a chance to feel like, actually, I've done something to make me feel like, yes, I've gained some experience, even though I haven't had the job at the top tier. So I did the qualifications, which I have now. And before that, one of the things that was said to me by the chair was that you didn't meet the criteria for the application, because one of the things that you need to have was to be have the qualifications for the NPQH, which is the National Qualifications for Head Teachers. Said, yes, I do have it, and you do not, because when I did get the qualifications, I did say to governors, I'm qualified, and the governors actually applauded me, and it's also minuted in the minutes for that meeting, which you were there. So you know that for a fact. Also, it was on my application, so it was there. Yeah.
So did you actually at the end, because of all the things because it was quite like, I think you're not the only one really facing that kind of injustices. And I feel like nowadays is actually because of the diversity and inclusion reform, a lot of things are starting to move around. I've seen a lot of head teachers as well who are Black, who are actually saying the same thing that you're saying. So eventually, did you actually get the job?
No, I didn't.
So you didn't. So did you? So still now, you don't have.
That was a few years ago, right? I know in 2024, I'm here now. I've got a job as a head teacher, and I'll tell you why I got there, because basically over the next few months of me saying that, I did the other course, which I'm now qualified to be doing things like leading like larger schools, be a CEO for a group of schools. So I've got a qualification as well. So I've now, what I did was I thought, if I'm doing the job day to day and you can't see me, I'm going to back it up with qualifications. So I've got the qualifications now to show that, yes, I can do this job. Now, something transpired over a period of time with that person who said to me that basically you can't be a head teacher in my organization. That person had to leave because of something that the person did, which if it had gone out to the public, it would have been embarrassing on her for many, many reasons. So the person decided, you know what, I'm going to step down out of this position and go. And that was one of the happiest days of my career, because this person who was beating me in the head, to my face was always kind and polite and nice, but behind my back, she was being very, very destructive, demoralizing, and all of that. And I thought, you know what? When the person left, I thought, yes, thankfully that has happened. Now, someone came in and took over that role, different mindset, open-minded, and was like, you know what? We want someone who is here that is keen for this. So short story is, within a few months of that person leaving, a job was advertised for, so we have 2 schools, and we had 2 heads of school, and they decided to do a restructure to come down to 1 head teacher rather than having 2 heads of school plus executive teacher. And this was done because the person was employed, the person was appointed for that job that I didn't get shortlisted for, who joined, was a white Irishman. He came on and he said, Dean, I've heard your stories. The first time we met, I heard your stories about what you've been through. And let me just say something to you. I'm Irish. There's a phrase that was way back when was, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. You're Irish, I'm black. Guess what? Let's work together and make this work. So he was a very good advocate, and we worked really well together to make things different. And with his support, a lot things that I wanted to do in the past, I was not able to do. Like I said, Dean, you know what? This school, Whitney Gibbons, is your school. You do what you wish with this school. I'm going to spend more at the other school because that's where a bit of godly support is needed. So you take control of here. I'll work with you, I'll support you, I'll mentor, I'll do all this stuff, which I've never had in between the first person leaving and him coming. I didn't have that. There was that support wasn't there. It was more about like, yeah, it's all about me as in the person above me and not about like the organization. So that made a huge change. So I got the job as a teacher of this school. And within a couple of years, I got the job as Federation Headteacher for both schools. So that's where I'm at now. So
well done.
It's like I had to fight and push my way through to get there because it wasn't easy. It was a very difficult road to get there. Still not there where I want to be because I said to you, the schools of Federation, and one of the model is that you have a executive teacher at the top of the tree and you have others below. I'm here now. My title is Federation Head Teacher. Now, apart from the lady who was here originally, she was the only black person that led that train of leadership. It's me. The others in the middle were all white, and all of them came in as executive teachers, even though they weren't experienced at doing that job before. But yeah, I'm still here now. I'm still not there. So that's something else that needs to be addressed. And if it does happen in the near future or not, we could have probably another conversation about what's happened, why it's happened, and what is going on. So yeah, it has been challenging, but there has been some positives out of it.
But I think that your story is going to resonate with a lot of head teachers, a lot of senior leaders who actually may have faced the same challenge that you have faced as well. So now what really kept you going? Because you have been, from what I've heard, you are a man of resilience. You push through. You still stay, even if there is wind, rain, it is sunny, whatsoever. You are positioned and you know what you want. You have been there from day one. And what really kept you going? What really kept you going differently from the other people that came before you?
So for me, it was not about me. It was about, I came to a community that reminded me of where I lived in Jamaica. The families here, it is one of the most deprived communities in the local area. The families here needed someone to advocate for them. The children are lovely and children can't get it wrong. When things go wrong, it's not their fault, it's because of what's around them. And I thought, you guys need someone here to fight for you, because I've seen people above me coming in and it was more about them and their personal gain. And I thought, if I jump ship as they did, then these children will not survive because they need someone around to look up. And that's the reason, that's my driving force, is about what is best for the children in this community. Spilling off from that, I work with a group of people who are brilliant and who have the interest of the children at heart. That's the main thing for them. So I've got the children first, and like they always come first. I've got the staff, and I've got the parent community. So it's like that, that's the bubble. That is why I do what I do, because I respect them, I work for them, and therefore I get that from them as well. And it's like, yeah, it is what is meant to be. So that is my driving force. It's not about like the title, which, yes, you've worked hard for it, you should get it, but it's more about what are we doing and are we giving the best for the children that we serve? I can go to bed at night and sleep peacefully. I'm not worried about what I've done or if I've been unfair or unkind or whatever it is. I'm doing my job because at the heart of all I do, is it best for these children? That's it. That is my fight. That is why I do what I do. Otherwise, I would have left like probably 10 years ago.
Yes, you think about the next generation, you think about them and you want to make a difference in their life. And I think this is amazing because you're a catalyst for them to propel in their life, to grow, to do something different that they've never seen before, because they see your love, you love people, you want to make a difference in their life. And we need more leaders like you, people who actually are in the profession with the right motives. And I love your heart really to help actually the people around you, your community. You always do so much for them in terms of giving them the tools that they need, the strategy that they need to actually get better in life. So this is really commendable, Dean. Now the question I have for you is, what do you think that has to change now in education? What do we need to change from all of your story, all the challenges that you went through, all the things that you experienced, and the wisdom that you gain? What is the change we need to see in education today? And what can we do differently to make a difference?
Well, simply put, we need to have open-minded people in leadership. Because for people like me who have had to struggle, if there were people around in the past 10, 15 years who were open-minded, because I'd applied for jobs before I got this job here, and I was always told that, sorry, you came second, you just weren't good enough. My question has always been, and hasn't changed, is it because I wasn't actually good enough, or is it because what that head said to me once about your face doesn't fit? Was that the case? Because that has stuck with me. Is it because I wasn't good enough, or is it because my face did not actually fit your model? Because you've heard the saying that people tend to employ those that look like them, that fit what you want. Now, do we have open-minded people, black, brown, or white, who will look at someone's application, CV, and not judge them because of where they're from or their color or whatever, and actually, you know what, fine, this person has put together a very good application and fits all the criteria that we're asking for. Let's give this person a chance. Let's interview them. Let's be open. Let's be fair, honest. And if on the day you're the best person, give them the job, regardless of their color. But sadly, that's not what's happening. So I would love to see that change, and that change has got to come from the top. So a lot of the work I do is around racial equality and racial justice. So yesterday I was in Norwich speaking to a group of head teachers, and I walked into the room. My deputy was with me, and we were the only two black people in the room of about like 50, 60 people. And I presented to them about representation matters. And it was quite good to have a conversation, because they actually reached out to us to come and speak to them, because so that they want to develop, because where they are, it is predominantly white British.
Yes.
The message was, even if it is one child who is black or brown, or one teacher who is black or brown in your school, you should have the same facilities that I have in mind, because that one child or that one adult need to be seen, need to be heard, and need to be to know that they matter, they belong, and their views, their needs are being met as well. So that's what I'd like to see more of. We have people
Diversity.
who are Black or brown who have a lot to offer, but they're not given a chance to do so because they're being pushed back, held back for different reasons. And I want to make this very, very clear. I've worked with some brilliant people of all different races who have the forefront for them is the best for whoever's around. But there's others who are very close-minded, and if you don't look like me, you can't work in an organization. And that is what the problem is. Now, I'm currently working with a couple of young men who I want to get into leadership. One of them has already got in as an assistant head teacher in a secondary school, and the other one is a phase leader. I've been mentoring them for the past year. They're doing really well, but I would like to see more Black men into leadership because there's only a small percentage of us in the entire country, and it needs to be more because in my school, majority Black children, and I'm the one Black teacher. I've got two teaching assistants who are Black, but for them, Black boys getting involved in different situations or troubles are easily are the ones who are going to be first on the list to be excluded from school when something goes wrong. Therefore, their attainment is going to be low. They need Black male role models who are positive images in their lives, and it's not always there. I have in my school who've never had a man as their teacher, never. It's all women. And it's like, I'm not saying that they do a fantastic job, but you need to have a balance.
But this is what is happening as well nowadays. Like a lot of teachers are not really staying for the long term, the long run in education because of all the things that you have been facing, and even because they can be overwhelmed by their job. They don't have the support of the senior leaders, and there is all of that going on now in education. So now I know that you're doing something totally different in that aspect. So really, let's go a bit deeper. Like, how do you empower your parents' community? Because I know that you do that for the children, but how do you actually empower your parents' community so they can actually help their kids?
The same thing. So whatever I do it is public. Nothing I do is private. I put it out there because I want people to be aware of what we do. So for example, each week, and when I talk to my colleagues that I do this, like, Dean, you are crazy. Every week I put out a newsletter to parents. It's weekly. Some schools do it every term, some do it every term, every month. I do it weekly. And there's also a message from me that goes out to parents. And one of the things I started doing recently is like, I do a bit of work around racial literacy to empower our parents with what they need to know about race inequality, all the stuff that they need to know. So it's put out there. We also have things like conversations about race. So we have those meetings in the schools where we invite parents to come in and talk about how does race affect things like education, schooling, housing, health, whatever. Let's have those conversations. Let's talk. If something comes up from that conversation that we think, okay, fine, majority of our parents are suffering or struggling with that, then we look for outside support. How can we do something to support them to make it better for them? If there's a community in the school that is feeling like a bit left out because there's not enough of us and we are always overlooked, they have a voice. Come and speak to us, because that way we'll find exactly what you're thinking. What can we do to make it better? So all of that is being done. We celebrate what the pupils in the schools have done. We are active on our social media. We share good news daily. We put it out there. In this school, this is what we do. We have evenings for everything. Every community that is in our school will do things to empower them. So if there's, let's say, for example, for a Muslim community, during Ramadan at the end, we have our Eid celebration and we invite everyone to come in, and it's colorful, it's bright, it's lovely, and people are here sharing, laughing. Everyone feels a sense of belonging. I remember last term, I got a massive card from parents, and it was to say thank you to the school for allowing our children during Ramadan to get time out of class to pray. in a space that was there for them, and they felt like, yeah, we listen, we understand, and we support, because they were quite happy that the kids could come to school and would not have to miss out on. They could fast if they wanted to, and they could pray in a space that was designated for them. So we do a lot around that. And it's not just that community, it's like all communities within our school. We have specific days where we celebrate. Little things like, which is very small for some, but for others is huge. If it's your birthday in our schools, you don't have to wear your uniform. You can wear whatever you wish to wear. And when I did that,
Nice.
Dean, you're mad. I'm like, no, I'm not. What I'm doing here is I'm giving children a chance to express themselves the way they see fit. So on your birthday, you want to come to school dressed up in pink from head to toe. Nobody looks at you. It's the norm. So nothing stands out as being like odd, because in our school, if you can think of it, we're going to do it, because what we want is I want you to be in the school, to be safe, to be happy. And by doing that, it makes parents feel a lot safer that the children are in our school. And I've heard people like you. I've got friends who I talk to who live in other parts of the country, like, Dean, you know what? I wish we lived close to you because my child will be near your school, because what you're doing there, I wish that other schools would do that. And so that's what I do to empower parents. That's what I do to empower our community. That's what I do to empower our children and our staff as well. With regards to staff, because of what I've been through, I've told them my story, and I'm here to support them as best as I can so that they don't have to go through what I went through.
I love that.
They don't have to go through that, because it was so hard for me. I've seen, and I could have been like selfish, like, you know what happened to me, you did it as well, but like, no, I want to make it easier for you. So by me doing that, they give a lot more to the school, not to me, to the school, because they're in a space where they are respected, they're seen, they're heard, and they are supported. So that's what I do, and I will do that until the day I stop working. And also, I've got staff who work with me now who know the way I work, and they have been challenged. When I move on, you need to carry this on, because that is what works, because you benefit from it. It's called paying it forward. I've helped you, therefore you need to help the other person that comes along, because that's only
That's
which.
it.
And hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get a lot more people like me and the younger ones coming up below me. If we have more of those spread across, then that will change what we currently have in our system.
I
It's a
love
lot.
it. I love it.
It's possible. It can happen. It can happen.
It can happen. It can happen. And I love as well that, you know, I've heard about the concept of leadership, and it says that people buy into the heart before they buy into the hand, and they both into your heart. You have such a good heart and to help your community, and that's why they feel they can relate to your story, they can relate to you, they can speak to you openly because they see that you really care about them. So Dean, we have shared a lot tonight. This is an amazing podcast because you have talked about your story, your resilience, your challenges. You have shared how you actually empower and help other people around you. You have shared the different ideas that you work around in your school and that your staff support and collaborate with you in your journey of greatness, because you're doing an amazing job. So now, what would you say your last word to inspire any parents of preteens or teens, any head teacher, any senior leader, or any teacher? What would you tell them now? This is your last message. What would you tell them?
So today we had this week in schools, both schools, we are doing Neurodiversity Week. And today we were encouraged to wear something colorful and bright to school, because the whole idea is about like joy, happiness, and be your best version of yourself. I was tasked we have a fair going on outside. I'm not sure if you can hear the music in the background. My job today was, at the end of the day, to be a goalkeeper, penalty shootout. So I came in like in a t-shirt today. I don't know if you can see here what it says. It says,
never give up.
That's it. That's my message.
That's it.
This is
I
what
love it.
I've done. Because you know what? Sometimes people might say, you know what, it's exhausting. And why do we have to fight so hard? But like, if you want something to happen, if you believe this is what you want to happen, you're going to get knocked back. Not once, not twice, a few times.
Wow.
But if you give up, you will not know what will happen at the end. So my thing is that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on going. So my message to you is, it will get difficult. It will get challenging. But if you really want it, never give up. Keep on going.
Thank you so much, Dean, for being part of the podcast. And guys, I see you in the next episode. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure you connect with us on Instagram at The Keys for Success. Check also my Linktree and become an affiliate of the Success Guide for Teens Academy, a program that will empower your school community as a parent, teacher, and high school senior leader. Do not hesitate to reach out, comment, and share. Until then, see you in the next episodes.